What's up, everybody? It's that time of the day, that time of the week.
That time of the new year.
Happy New Year, Jeff.
Yes, right back at you.
Season 2, Episode 1. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff.
And you realize yesterday was my birthday, right?
I do.
Did you bring me anything?
I did.
You didn't bring shit.
These.
Yeah, you brought my mail in for me.
I brought your mail in for
Thanks.
you. Anytime.
You're a dick.
Ah.
Happy New Year.
Right back at you.
Do you have anything that you've...
Like New Year
resolutions? Yeah.
No, because you never stick to them.
Gym memberships go up from today until February 1st, I think.
Right.
Everybody, I'm losing weight
gonna lose
this year.
weight.
Yeah, you're just going to lose money.
Yes.
Out of your wallet.
Because you're not going to go.
No, this is the best time for proportionally challenged people to go to the thrift stores because everybody's like, I'm throwing away all my fat clothes. And it's like, I'll buy them for a quarter.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, actually, I'm,
No, you're
stealthing down.
Man.
I'm down
looking good.
over 70 pounds.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, dude.
Yeah. Well,
and that comes
I can't
from
afford
right here.
can't afford to eat anymore. My
okay.
bills are too high.
Well, yeah.
So happy New Year.
Yes, same to you, my friend.
And I hope you had a good time last night. We are excited for the new year.
To start off this season 2.
I'm going to turn my hat backwards.
Episode
so I can look cool.
Number 1.
Season 2, number 1.
Yep.
And what better way to bring in the new year?
That is no lie.
Than to bring in someone who's been in touch with the Syracuse music scene for a good number of years.
Yeah.
And has people still love every bit of their music and his music.
Exactly. I
think
you've been a huge fan.
I know you have. You couldn't wait when we booked this gentleman.
Of the band Kane. If anybody remembers that, we'll go back to that a little bit, I hope. Yeah. And Hard Promises as well. And
who knows what else someday.
And this gentleman also has his own solo album.
Yes, he does.
So
he does.
Well,
so without further ado, let's bring in
Mr. Jeff
Gordon. Dun, dun, dun.
There he is.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Hey guys.
How you doing,
How
sir?
are ya?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you both.
It is
you as well.
It is an honor. Happy New Year to
Happy
you.
New Year to you.
Yes. Tell us what
Thank
you
you.
did last night. Did you play out
Played
last
at the
night?
Hotel Syracuse.
There you go.
Yes, that's right.
I heard that it was just an enormous crowd.
It was.
And people had
It was incredible.
a blast.
Good. Good
We
deal.
did. We had a great time.
Yeah. People know we record these.
I know.
I don't know, but
It's okay.
It's good to pretend.
You got to pretend a little.
Happy Easter, just in case we don't get this one up there.
Right.
So, Jeff, we are so thrilled to have you on the show.
Yes.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's nice to be here.
We've had a lot of local people that I've grown up with, but you guys, you're just a little the next level. I mean, a little older than me, not too much, but you've been playing longer than I have, and I mean that with just nothing but respect, because the projects that you've done, that to me, that was just some great stuff from years gone by.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. You mentioned Kane.
I did.
Yeah. That was what Timmy Sharp and Harry Mentor, was that Kane or?
Now, Harry, yeah, so the history of Kane is pretty amazing, actually. There was a version of Kane that started late 60s, early 70s. Now, I'm not that old, so that wasn't me.
No. Harry's that old.
But
Yeah.
Harry Harry was in that band, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And Lou, I actually got involved in Kane through Lou Segretti. So, and I met Lou back in the DMR days when he worked at DMR agency. And actually, I was I don't know if you all knew this or not, but I used to sing for Smokin' Joey Bonamassa when he was Smokin' Joey. So I was Joe's singer before his voice changed, and he ended up getting an incredible voice on his own. But at that time, he didn't have an incredible voice. He was would have been a soprano.
Right.
So I played with Joe for a little while, and I knew Lou before that a little bit through DMR, but then Lou ended up joining the band a couple months after I did, and we actually roomed together when we were on the road.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah. So when that wrapped up, and then several years later, I think, or a couple years later, anyway, Lou contacted me about putting a band together with Harry
Mm-hmm.
and Mike Secreti. Rest in peace, Mike
Yeah,
Secreti.
yeah.
I
And
actually have a great story about Mike.
and Pete Levanti. So we put a band together. We didn't know that we were going to use the name Kane, or maybe Lou did, but I didn't. But we couldn't agree on a name, and Lou just said, "I let's resurrect the Kane name." So that's how the second iteration of Kane came around.
That's awesome.
And then somewhere thereafter, Harry left the band, and that's when Kevin Farrell came in, and that's how I met Kevin,
Yep.
who is in Hard Promises with me. So. Yeah, Kane was a lot of fun.
I actually have a really cool story about Mike. I met him outside of Max one night, and he and I are standing outside just shooting the shit about music and what have you. And then, lo and behold, as you know, at Max there was generally some riffraff and bar fighting.
Yeah.
He and I are standing next to the door. And all of a sudden, the door just blows open. These two guys are going at it. And he grabs me and yanks me towards him.
Ah.
And I'm like, no kidding. And then ever since then, he and I were just, every time we saw each other, we always talked about that story.
Yeah,
I think that's
a sweetheart for sure.
I think that story means a lot more to you than the rest of us, because it's kind of boring.
Yeah, well,
it's not like it wasn't life saving. It was just
sure it was.
Moved you out of the way.
He saved me from getting hit.
Yeah, well, tell that story again.
I'll tell you my funny Mike Secreti story from Max, since we're talking about Max Bad Art Bar.
Yeah, let's do it.
Mike and I were going through the crowd together, and of course he knew a whole bunch of people that I didn't know, because he was, as you said, he was a generation before me.
Right.
And so and Mike, it's sad to say now because he died, but of cancer, but he had cancer earlier in his life, prior to me knowing him, and we were walking through the crowd, and some guy stopped him and said, "Mike." And he said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Mike Secreti?" He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, I thought you were dead."
Oh my God.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Mike goes, no, not dead.
I don't think.
Right here.
Because if I was dead, I sure wouldn't be in this hellish place I am right now. It'd be warmer.
So hard.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'll bet you that, yeah. It always takes just one beer-laden jackwad to say something that actually makes something a funny story for later in life, and you're just like, remember that time? Yeah.
Yep.
So if that guy's listening somewhere, there you go. Or he's probably
he may be
dead.
Gone.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So I could sit here for hours talking about any of those guys, Harry Mentor especially.
Harry.
So my last project. Now I've known Harry through Billy Hatch and Timmy Sharp and those guys for years ago, and always he and I we could sit and talk for hours about just nothing, And my last project I was playing with Bobby Lett and Dave Brown, who's now with Stroke, and we're playing at the Finish Line, and Harry shows up, and Bobby's like, Is that fucking Harry Mentor? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh my God, dude, this is gonna sound stupid, but I have like fanboy right now. I listened to all their stuff years ago, and I just freaking loved it. I'm like, well, go tell him that. He's
right.
Like, he goes, I don't know why. I'm feeling like I can't even walk up to him. And I go, Harry, come here. I said, you want to sit in with us on this next song? And Bobby's like, will you please? I'm like, dude,
wow.
I've never seen. I mean, I've
never seen you like this.
Yeah,
before.
Bobby, they play. I mean, Jesus Christ, Grit and Grace plays all over the place.
Yeah.
They have good crowds, and I've never seen him fanboy out. So
that's funny.
All over Harry. So I guess we as friends, and we all sit back and we go, how's that guy turned your head? But
yeah,
people that have been fans of your music for years, they come up, and that's the premise.
I had that same experience with Dave Porter. To me, growing up in Central New York, I used to sneak into the Lost Horizon when I was underage to see 805.
Yep.
I wanted to see 805. Just everybody, Dave Porter, Ed Vivenzio, Cremo, all of Frank Briggs, all of them. So
Yep.
That was my fanboy moment when I got to older and got to know Dave Porter a little more. And I've told him several times, and I think he's probably tired of me telling him how much he influenced me, for sure.
It's we have a community that's by far I feel more close knit than most cities in upstate New York. I think Syracuse's music scene. I just posted that segment from Ben Morrow. Syracuse music scene is one of a kind. It really is, and I think you make some lifelong friends and associates and people that you can collaborate with for life. And there's been a lot of people that have gone on and done really great things out of here. But compared to other cities, I don't. I know they have their scene, but they can't. I don't think they can touch what comes out of here. And I know people that listen to us all over.
And who was it that told us that we are really fortunate?
Pete Merluzzi,
because he's gone to other places and found that it's still that my band's better than your band kind of thing.
Yeah, they're not friends; they're more competition with each other.
It's also it is a very unique scene here. The other piece that makes it unique is like when you go see a cover band in our town, you can hear them through a large sound system and really feel it and hear it like it's a concert experience. If you go to somewhere like a Sharky's or even an Average Joe's or any of those places, you're getting a full PA system with lots of power behind it, and so it's a full production. And when people leave town, they've always told me you don't find that anywhere else.
Right.
Like Pete Levanti, who was in Hard Promises with us and came with me. He moved to Arizona and he played in some bands. And he said it's terrible. You're a full rock band and you're bringing in and you're putting speakers you're just putting them on a stand and only the singer's going through them, and that's that's not how this music was meant to be heard.
Right. No, exactly.
Right. We're fortunate.
I think
we're fortunate.
I think what I've also seen is when some of these national guys come through and they're playing someplace like Sharky's or Average Joe's or Kegs, they're finding that our engineers don't get the credit that they deserve either. We've got some great sound guys here.
We really do.
That can really mix, and when they decide, well, we'll use house sound and house engineer, and they'll get some backline from some reputable people we have in this area, and they're finding the engineers out this way are pretty top notch. I mean, even the Turning Stone, my God.
Yeah.
Turning Stones had some great people mixing out there. Triple E was phenomenal.
And Del Lago has Mike Richards, who's fantastic. And of course we use Pauly Charay. He's phenomenal. And as a matter of fact, we just played 2 nights. Well, when we're recording this, we just played a couple of nights with Almost Queen. We did 2 shows with Almost Queen, a national tribute show. Fantastic, really talented guys in both at the Landmark and then at the Kodak Theater. And we brought Pauly Charay with us, and the compliments that everybody gave us and him for the quality of the sound for the opening act compared to the headliner was really noteworthy.
I think Pauly definitely does not get the credit. Who complimented the heck out of him was Nina.
Yeah,
from the Femmes of Rock.
Yep.
When they played here, I don't know if you know who they are, but they're
I think they played the night after us at Sharky's. Yeah,
yes,
sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
So and Tatora's the drummer for that band, and one of 77 bands he's in, and she said, "Wow, that mix and the light show, everything. The light show and everything was just." We have to beg for this at other venues, and this was. They're used to playing Vegas, for God's sake, where it's a production, and I think you're allowed to do that here. And when I see you guys play, it's a show.
Yeah,
it's not just a cover band in the corner trying to do their shit. I've always admired the fact that you guys put that show on. So, thumbs up for that.
That again comes from our experience. We're all a product of our experiences, right? So, watching the 805s and the Works back in the day.
Yep.
Those were my two go-to bands when I was in high school, and when other people were watching, not that I didn't watch plenty of MTV, but when I could go out and feel that energy from a live performance. And what was really great about them was they were mixing in a bunch of original music, which we don't get enough of these days, mixed in. So, and I got to know their original songs as much as I knew the covers they were doing.
Right,
and they were, and it was a show. It was 805 was a massive show. And then on the other side of that, the Works, if you remember, they were the quintessential rock and roll band.
Yep.
I mean, they were energy. Eddie Hamill, I remember seeing him get on, he would get on the shoulders of a roadie.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him at the beginnings, the original beginnings, and he would get on there with his guitar, and he'd play his guitar behind his back while the guy was carrying him around on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And I was out of my mind. I was 17. I had never seen anything like it. There was just so much rock and roll energy coming off that stage. It was phenomenal.
Well, they made it. They definitely made a dent in the music industry. I mean, they went on to do some great stuff too. But
absolutely,
just any of those guys. Now, you talk about a show and influences. I'm looking over your shoulder.
Jimi Hendrix.
And I see Hendrix back there.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
to have that kind of iconic just presence going completely against the grain that he did.
Right.
That's one of those guys that you just were like, holy shit, and you never thought you would see that. But when you see that out of a local band, I'm into it, cover band or not. Musicians are playing music. They're entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm not one to say, because, let's face it, in the 80s, you had to be an original band. There wasn't a lot of cover bands in the 80s. There was original bands that were really doing something.
Yeah.
And then it, like the local industry, I always say, turned right when Albino's burned down. It was like cover bands took over the world because all the original most of the original bands lost a bunch of shit in that fire. And I still say that's when everything turned. I think we started seeing more and more cover bands, and people want to hear what they want to hear.
I always give credit, and I've said this before, so it's not news, but I always give credit to the change in not just cover bands, but the kind of shows that cover bands were able to be a part of.
Right.
Really shifted for me, and I got to give credit to who I think were the trailblazers, and that was Under the Gun. I think they, when Lee was in Maryland's Chamber, I played in an original band called Free at Last in town at the time.
Yep.
With the guys from Penguin Studios, Teo and Steve Feldman and Teo Mack. And we played a lot of shows with them. They were a headliner. They were already big. Maryland's Chamber was very big doing original music. And then when I heard Lee was doing a cover band, I didn't know what to think of it because cover bands at the time were kind of relegated to Frankie's Steakhouse, if you remember that place.
Yes. Yes.
Those kinds of things. And next thing you know, there's a cover band putting on a rock show, not just playing a song and then sitting there, but putting on a rock show. Tons of energy and tons of power through a full PA system and bigger than life. And that was Under the Gun. And I since I was in Kane, I gave them all credit for opening that market up for bands like Kane and Hard Promises and everybody to walk through, really.
So I don't know if you caught the episode with Ryder or with Lee's episode, but so Under the Gun, Maryland's Chamber ends on like a Friday. They just disband. And Lee, my bachelor party is like that Saturday, and Lee stood up in my wedding, and they're at my bachelor party, and Ricky and JT are sitting at the bar, and they don't know me, they don't know Lee, but we go out to get a drink in the front of the bar, and Ricky says, "Aren't you Lee Anderson?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Look, I got this band. Would you listen to a tape?" And Lee's like, "Look, I'm not interested.
Yep.
I'm just getting out of something now. It's like getting a divorce and getting married the next day. I'm good." And I guess Ricky was relentless to the point where finally Lee was like, he called Ricky.
Yes.
And Ricky was like, "Holy shit," and then Ricky drove right over and dropped cassette off of what they were looking to do, of all the covers, and that's what started that whole thing.
That's funny.
But Lee was used to doing those big shows. He was used to the Lost Horizon, Scott Semiano putting out a good production up front there. Yep. Sorry, Scott Sterling. Sorry.
Correct yourself.
Scott Monkey.
Scott Monkey.
So, those shows, those people went into that thinking, hey, I already have a following to who I am. I'm not going to let them down.
Yeah.
So let's bring that show. And good up for everybody who's done it. So, but more about you. So you had Kane, and you had.
I like talking about other people better, but go ahead.
No, this is about well, we could talk about other people all night long,
right?
But I think the reason the people people are here to see you. You've got just as much of a name as any of the other guys.
Yeah,
you really do.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
I don't know. Your name comes up quite a lot in conversations around.
He was a saving grace for me.
Yeah,
because I don't want to exploit this or that, but let's put it this way. I always use I didn't use a foot book, but I use a tablet, and I kept it on a floor monitor, and you can't really see it, but I use a page turner in my pocket, and it's down there, and it's the set list's on there, or a new song that we haven't done before, and it's there. And I got so much shit for it by certain people. I'm not going to mention certain people's names, but
people who are using it now.
People who are definitely using it now.
Right.
Thank you,
yes,
because everybody is using it now.
Everybody is using it now.
And we play. I have 500 songs in my repertoire, and I don't need a thing. And I'm like, well, you've been playing the same songs since 1982, right. So you better know them by now. I was a drummer for 30 years and never thought to be a front guy, and now I'm singing, and there you go. So, but I think you and Jeff talked about. I said, look, some of the better musicians in Syracuse have something. They either have a foot book, and he says, and Jeff got his box there,
Did you get to stand on?
Yeah, well, the monitors are not made of that kind of wood for me to stand on. Let's just put it to you that way, Phil.
Well, I'm 5'5", so that box is that's the main use for that box.
Right? So he can see over everybody.
Yeah, he's got a refrigerator in the other half.
People more than the front row can see me. Yeah, otherwise they can't.
So I thank you for giving me a leg to stand on to say, yeah, well, if this guy can do it and they draw 500-600 people without a blink, I think we'll be fine at Max or Club 11.
I always felt like if you're gonna if you look at Springsteen or Bon Jovi or anybody, Aerosmith, they all have incredible teleprompter systems.
Yes,
and they're their own songs.
Yeah,
and they wrote them.
Yeah.
So I don't feel guilty about trying to switch up a set list and doing 35 to 40 songs a night. And although I know the song, obviously people go, oh my God, you played that song forever. How could you not know it? I do know the lyrics. I don't always have the lyrics in front of me. As you said, sometimes it's just the name of the song. It's my set list. It tells me what the next song is.
Right.
Or it's one area or the first line of the song, each verse to remind me of what to go. But the best thing about it is it's one less thing you have to worry about and stress out about.
Right.
That you're going to forget a line and a word and screw it up. It just is a safety blanket so that you can focus on the rest of the show. You're singing, your guitar playing, your, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Do you know who does that old school, by the way?
With the foot book?
Nope.
What?
DR. But it's on paper.
Oh, he writes it out by hand. I'm like, dude, just get a fucking tablet, you cheap son of a gun. My God.
I know it.
Yeah. No, I got up and
that happens as you get older too. Obviously when I was younger, I used to be able to remember everything. Now that I'm older, it gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
To remember that stuff.
All you need, like for me, like you said, you need maybe, just it might be a key phrase. Oh, that's the part of the song. Here's where that comes in.
Yeah,
right.
Like something as dumb as Summer of '69.
Yeah.
It's I always that one ain't
The
no
one
use in
part.
complaining. It's like, oh yeah, that's what's coming up now. And that's all I had to have is that one phrase. Don't forget. I'm in my brain. I'm like, don't forget, ain't no use in complaining. And
Well, yes, that's a great example. Summer '69. That the pre-chorus in Summer '69. There's three pre-choruses, and they all are similar but not exactly the same.
right.
Yes,
So
exactly.
if you don't have, if you don't start it right, you're on. They're all so similar that it's hard in your brain to make sense of the three different ones. But I have a guy, John, my keyboard player, Goody. He's harmonizing with me, so he needs to know that I'm doing the right words.
You're right.
So that
Hey.
we're singing different words when we're harmonizing.
You just gave me a reason to complain. And
Right.
if you didn't hit, ain't no use in complaining.
Now I am.
Now I am complaining.
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny because Saturday,
Yeah.
well, when this airs, a couple weeks ago, DR's like, come on up, saying, what do you want to do? And I said, do Cat Dragged In. And so everybody's like, all right, we're doing that song. And I'm getting up there with the premise that and JT's like, no, I'm not doing that one. We're doing Summer '69. I'm like,
yep.
So I know the words, but my meant just that little. It's like I'm a trapeze guy that's been doing it for 40 years, and now you want me to swing back and forth without a net. I know I'm never going to need the net, but it's just knowing it's there.
That's all right.
And Daryl's like, you're going to be okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be fine, but I hate this song. I literally hate this song. So, yeah. But obviously it went off without a hitch.
All I know is that I really appreciate the fact that these guys are doing songs that really nobody else is doing. They're not doing the Metallicas and the Alice in Chains and that sort of thing. I really love the set list you guys put out.
I remember we went and saw you guys, he and I together, and I was like, I said, this is one of those bands that I can sit here and listen to and say, I did not hate, I liked
song.
every single song.
Yes.
So
now the guys in the band may hate them.
Yeah.
However,
yeah, after you do them for however long, and you're like, oh God, if I had to do that one more.
We do them a long time. The problem we have is like people go, oh, you guys play a lot of the same songs, and it's like when we stop playing a certain song, inevitably like 30 people come up to us and they're like, I came out to hear that one song, and it's like,
and
all
you
right,
didn't
we'll
do
keep
it.
playing it then, I guess.
It's like going to see your favorite band. It's like going to see your favorite national act, and they don't do the song that everybody wanted to hear.
Hey,
it happens.
Yeah.
A national.
I will say that the one thing that we have always kind of prided ourselves, Hard Promises kind of pride ourselves in, is that as soon as we hear too many other bands doing it, we stop doing it. And we move away from it because they can see it three other places, from three other bands.
Right.
Summer '69 is a great example of that, or Roll with the Changes we stopped doing because everybody started doing it. So it was like, wasn't that interesting?
See, and I wish more bands were like that.
Yeah.
I wish more bands were like that.
We just try to find songs that have gotten lost in the mix somehow, and not the whole night, but we try to throw in some twists that people haven't heard in a while, and they can be anything from that. We go back into the '70s, so we'll do Do You Feel Like We Do from Frampton. We'll do some Who.
Yep.
We'll do Bubba O'Reilly, or we'll do Won't Get Fooled Again, and so we're kind of a blend of that and maybe early '80s, and we don't really get into the hair metal, but we'll do we dig Night Ranger, so we'll do some Night Ranger because they were an incredible band and fun to play.
We threw in Eddie Money and Golden Earring and stuff like that, and I remember Joe Altier comes up to me, he's like, "Dude, you threw in Golden Earring." I said, "Yeah."
No, it wasn't that one.
Which one was it?
It was the New Girl Now.
Oh, New Girl Now. That's right too. That was it. He goes, nobody plays that song. This was a couple years ago, and I said, yeah. He goes, you actually got me to come out of the back room.
Yes.
He was at Jake's getting paid for the night before or something, and he goes, I came out of the back room. I'm like, who the hell's singing that song? And guess who sings that song?
We are.
No, every time he's sitting playing piano now.
He is now.
He is. And I said, you're playing that now? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I think I added it the day after I heard you guys doing it, thinking, that's a great song. I need to play that. So it's cool when you do stuff that no one else is doing.
Yeah. We play Joe's favorite song that we play, or at least it was, he used to tell me all the time, was We Do Change from John Waite.
Okay.
His first hit. And so every time he's around and he goes, oh, you didn't play it tonight. So we keep bringing it out again. But
the one song
that's
I remember,
one that not many people do.
The one song I remember hearing from them, and it was Love Ain't No Stranger from Whitesnake.
Oh yeah, that was in Kane. Yeah, Loving
Yeah,
No Stranger. Yep.
love that song.
We did a few. Yeah, a few from White Snake.
Yeah, you guys did
A
fantastic.
few of the ones that others weren't doing. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So out of all the music that you've done over the years, what's the one song? Because I know Jeff's. What's the one song that you're just like, God, if I never have to play that song again, I'll be so happy. This is an uncomfortable moment.
I get well. I started in high school or middle school playing like you guys probably, and I so I guess I get a little when somebody brings up a song in rehearsal that I've done since it came out in high school.
Okay.
It kind of bums me out a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, I can't get away from this song. But I will say, and an example of that is Jump by Van Halen, because I did that,
Okay.
We learned that as soon as it came out in my high school band. And I'm hoping we're better at it now than we were back then, but who knows? We thought we were amazing back in high school. And, but I have to say that the one thing that really is important to us, and I think most of us get this, but if the crowd's responding to it, then it makes everything better. It doesn't matter so much if I am sick to death of the song. If the crowd is jumping around and going crazy, then that's the right choice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, like Enter Sandman.
It's for them. It's not for us. It's for them.
No.
That's right.
I know.
I used to have to twist his arm to do Enter Sandman from Metallica, and it was like, oh God, here we go again. I'm like, shut up and play the song. Everybody wants to hear it, and this, it's not like Freebird.
I'd play Freebird first.
Yeah, Jesus. The quintessential shout out.
I know.
It's like, yeah.
Now, I do think when you're in a cover band, the only thing that we focus on a lot is our instrumentation, what we have available to us, and what we're good at, and
right.
And what I'm good singing. I think, quite frankly, as a cover band, you can't sing everything.
Right.
That's out there. You can't be all these different singers. And so you kind of got to know what you're good at, and that's truthfully, that's why I stay away from Journey. People go, you don't play Journey. I said, occasionally we'll play a Journey song. We've done some in the past, but I've heard too many bad versions of Journey in town. And that's not to be mean. People want to hear it, and they don't care whether it's amazing or not. But
right.
I can't do it because Steve Perry was such an amazing voice that to me, you got, John Seeley sang it unbelievably. He was one of the few who could really sing Journey like Journey was meant to be sung.
With or without the right words.
Damn.
I'm not going to comment.
I'll tell him that.
To get by
Shut
that.
up. I tell him that too. I mean, we had it in the band. It was like, dude, you totally Seeley'd that one.
Yeah, we did.
And Lee said, hey, when John sang a song, every time we did it, we never had to worry about copyright infringements.
No.
And we made it our own because the words were all completely different.
Yep.
So
that's really funny.
Well,
boom.
So Jeff, what got you guys into doing a full Tom Petty set?
That's how we started, actually. So so Hard Promise is obviously the name of a very famous Tom Petty album,
right.
And so we started as a Tom Petty tribute while we were still in Kane. We put together a side project that was Hard Promises.
Okay.
And one of the guys in Kane, although he disputes this, and he's a friend of mine, so I won't mention his name, but he disputes the story. But my memory is that we were doing a Tom Petty song, and then it disappeared from the set list, and he made the set list. And one day we asked him, why isn't that song in the set list anymore? And he said, basically said, I don't like Tom Petty, or something worse, fuck Tom Petty or something.
Yeah.
And we were so offended by that because we were such huge fans of Tom Petty that I think Pete Levanti and I talked, and he said, well, why don't we do a side project and let's just do all Tom Petty? And we're like, yeah, that'd be fun. So we started to do that. And actually Mary Jo Spillane, you mentioned, got us our first gig at Balloon Fest, I think it was. And Kane was still around for another year while Hard Promises had done kind of their first show. And it wasn't until Kane broke up that we decided to kind of put more effort into the Hard Promises, originally Tom Petty. But we also realized that if we wanted to play regularly in town, it's hard to be a tribute band to one artist,
Right.
Yes.
and stay local. If you can travel a bit and go to Rochester, Buffalo, Albany, then you can probably do it. But it's hard to be a tribute band and get people to want to come see you every week doing that, or every other week. So
Sure.
That's when we decided, well, we got the musicianship. Let's make Hard Promises two things in one, and
Yep.
that's kind of where that came from.
Well,
But I will say that we having just come off of two shows doing two Tom Petty sets for some really nice crowds. It's that's there's nothing better for someone who loves Tom Petty like me than to be able to dig into one artist and really dig deep into one artist's work, and try to do our best with it and do justice to it.
And as a Tom Petty fan myself, I mean, that's just, you guys nail it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
You crush it.
We don't try to, I'm not a tribute. Like, we try to explain we're a tribute to the music of Tom Petty. We're
Right.
not, I'm not throwing on a wig and pretending I'm Tom Petty. I
Right.
think everybody knows he's dead. So
yeah. Well, we had this conversation when we were talking about the band Get the Let Out, and same thing. They do Led Zeppelin just so well, and
better than anybody. Yeah,
and they're selling shows to crowds that are just enormous.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So and they're not trying to be anybody. No. I mean, the guy's got a voice.
Yes.
Like when you close your eyes and you're like, wow, and the guitar player's playing the notes lick for lick. But it's a tribute. It's not a clone band,
they explain that every time they play, and we love that about them, and we love. Yeah. I guess they're, if you're a Kiss band, you got to do the makeup,
Right.
But it's the whole package. But I never saw Tom Petty, or to me, Tom Petty was not a character. I don't think it wasn't. Everybody has an image, whether they want to or not, but I don't think he worked on his image. It was who he was.
Right. It wasn't a shtick.
I don't feel the need to imitate the image,
Right.
Like I would if I was in, you go to see it, Completely Unchained.
Yeah.
It's
Van Halen tribute. Yeah.
He's impersonating David Lee Roth, and doing a good job of it too. But
except for the drummer.
For the drummer.
Zoltan. Yeah, Zoltan.
Yeah.
Zoltan. Yeah.
Yeah. The only guy that, since we've done this podcast, that I'm talking to him, having a one-on-one face-to-face conversation, and he had like, oh look, a squirrel moment, and just like in the middle of the conversation, it's like, and walked away, and I'm standing there going, is he coming back? I mean, we were literally in the middle of a sentence, and he just like walked away, and I'm like, well, maybe he had to like go pee or something.
Right.
And he never came back, and I'm like, well, screw you there, fella. I'm sorry to be so boring. So, and I was like, I fanboyed for a moment because I saw him play with Vince Neil and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and he was better than Vince Neil. So,
everybody's better than Vince Neil.
Well,
yeah.
So was the hot dog vendor, probably.
Yeah, right. Hot dog vendor was singing along to the songs.
It's not hard to be better than Vince Neil.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just saying.
So anyway,
so Jeff, you've got a solo album out now too.
Yeah, I actually put that out about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, and I'm working on another one right now, actually. That came about mainly because I used to be in a lot of original projects when I was younger. Around the time I was on tour with Joe Bonamassa, as I mentioned, I had a band called Free at Last in town, and we did all original music and lots of recording, and I always wanted to get back to it. I just didn't really have the time between raising a family with raising kids, and having cover bands for 20 years now, 22 years straight. There just wasn't a lot of room to put in the time and energy, and but then COVID hit.
Right.
And when COVID hit, I was trying to figure out ways not to lose my mind, like everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have a recording studio. I'm actually in it right now. I have a small studio in my house that never got used very much for what I intended it to be, which was original music. And now suddenly I'm working from home and waiting for calls. And on my phone, I always had a recorder, and I literally had hundreds of melodies and chord progressions and stuff that I would put on there. And literally some of them were 10, 15 years old, never got around to doing anything with them. So the first fun part was listening to all of them back, and meant most of them were pretty horrid, but uh some of them I couldn't tell what I was trying to do. I was like, what was, I don't know what that was, but then there were a few that got me kind of going, and I was like, well, I wonder if I could put my own album together down here or get it started. And
Mm-hmm.
so it really was in an effort to stay sane.
So are
So
you playing?
it's amazing what technology has come to now,
Oh my
because
gosh.
I was
Absolutely.
here in my house with putting down the rhythm guitar tracks and vocals and some keyboards, and before I even had drums on it, which was weird, especially for those of us who grew up at a time when we didn't have all this technology. And so all those recordings I did when I was younger, the whole band was there. We were all there.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it was the opposite. So and then, because of COVID, I couldn't have people over. So we, we, it was amazing how to start parceling this work and sending it through the cloud to people. Frank Briggs plays on it from LA. From California, he played on a track. And on the first song, Coming Back for You, the drummer was Shakira's drummer, who was out of work because they were off tour, and happened to know my brother-in-law, who's a musician in Nashville. And he said, well, he'll do it for you, send it down to him. And he's got everything set up there. He does all kinds of albums and just amazing stuff.
Huh.
And it just became, had it mixed, and most of it was mixed in LA, from a friend, Teo Mack, who lives out in LA now. And I just, it was cool to do it that way. But now that I'm doing my new one, I don't want to do that again. Now I go to Brett Hoban's studio, and we do work together with a drummer, and Brett and me at least getting the bones down together, which is a lot more fun.
How far are you into it?
Well, I'm not sure it's kind of like I'm not sure what it's going to be yet.
Okay.
One song's completely in the can, done, mixed, and it's kind of the one that I think will probably be the single, if you will, the one I'll probably promote.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I'm going actually over in 2 days. I'm going over and recording. We're roughing in two more, and then I have one I just started playing around with the last couple of days that I'm can't get out of my head. That's the way these things work. They're more like afflictions. You,
Yeah. Right.
the only way to get them out of your system is to get them on tape. So I'm guessing it'll probably end up being an EP and not a full length LP.
Okay.
And probably four new songs. And there's one song that I did years and years ago with some great players on it, that was recorded at Penguin. And because it was back in the early '90s, there really was no format to share it.
Right.
Right.
So it still sounds great. It's Mick Walker produced it for me, and Mick plays on this one. He plays bass actually, and then a friend of mine, Dave Gale out of California, played guitar on it. George Rossi plays B3 on it. Frank DeFonda was the drummer, who's with Mark Doyle and the Maniacs, phenomenal
Mhm.
drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always wanted to get that one out too. So hoping by when I get back from my winter hiatus,
Yeah.
that the whole thing will be ready to roll out in the spring.
Now, do you plan on bringing that out by itself, or are you going to encompass those songs into a Hard Promise gig, or?
No, not Hard Promises. I have thought about, now that I have the two together, it would be fun to put a band together to do some opening sets, and things
Mhm.
like that. I'd like to think that if you've heard my first album, and of course, I guess every musician thinks this, so it could be completely wrong. But what I really was trying to do was trying to kind of trying to get an idea of, for people to hear who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, of
If
course.
I was, who am I? And I've always been in my mind, I've always been kind of a rock pop writer. It's kind of my thing, with a little bit of country and in it, and it's about the harmonies, and it's about the melody. And straight four on the floor kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I kind of stuck pretty close to that on the first one. Um, and my hope is that it's melodic enough and hooky enough, and well crafted enough that if people did come out and see it, even though they don't know the songs, they could tap their foot and they would appreciate that something sounds good and feels good.
Yes.
And that's not to say there isn't other bands doing that right now. I think Simple Life, in my opinion, they're my favorite original band in town,
Mm-hmm.
because their writing is so good. And so there's not a lot of avenues for that in this town, but I was fortunate to open up for a 38 special at Sharky's and I put together a band to do my last album,
Oh, cool.
and it was fun to taste that, you know.
Did it bring back memories? Did it bring back the
Did
old?
it bring back memories?
Yeah, the old days when you were just doing all your own stuff, and
Yeah, I think the funny thing about it is, and Kevin Farrell and I talk about this a lot. When you really, when you really, when you love the musicians that you listen to, and when you really appreciate what they do and how they do it in the production, I think several of us have a tendency to have self confidence problems. So we write songs and we write ideas down, and we don't finish them because we're like, before we even get it done, we're like, well, that's not good enough. It's not going to be good enough.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So when I had all the time in the world with COVID, there was a quote from Ryan Adams, not Brian Adams, but Ryan,
Ryan Adams. Yeah.
the other Adams, and he talked about how he writes something like and records like 30 songs a day, and
Oof.
he forces himself to not judge them until they're done, completely done
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
roughed in demos. And he said, by doing that, I find that uh, more of them turn out way better than I thought they would, and I would have never gotten there if I had just dumped them. So
Okay.
it's kind of the approach I've taken lately, and I think it made sense. It just, otherwise you just think, well, it's not good enough. And sometimes the ones you think are going to be great aren't, and the one that you probably would have dumped, if you finish it, you find out that it, through the collaboration with others, it becomes something really good. So
Well, you know,
I do love it. I do love it.
we talked to Ashley Cox the other day, and
Yeah.
she said, you know, I've same type of thing. Songwriter always got something going on in her head, and she's got these songs that she thinks this is how it's going to be, and then she just lays the piece in front of somebody, and lets the drummer and the bass player get a hold of it and be creative with it, and then all of a sudden she's like, sometimes they completely take a whole life of their own, completely different than where the road you want to go down, and they're like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, I actually like this one even more now that's been
Yeah.
this has been added, you know, because you lay down a good backbeat, a backbone is gonna
Yeah.
that might change that song
sure.
completely, you know, depending
Yeah,
on
yeah,
either the
absolutely.
tempo or the cadence of it or anything that's just their own creativity. Now you've got three minds collaborating rather than just your own. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
That's why I love working with Brett Hoban. If I give him a shout out at Hoban Studios, I love Brett. I mean, there's a lot of great studios in town. We're lucky with that too, but and lots of great engineers. But the nice thing about Brett is, and with Todd when he's around too, Todd Hoban, it's really nice to. I have a ton of ideas, but I really need to hear from other people if I'm on the right. Like, do you agree that that sounds good, even though that's a wild
yeah,
bass note to put under that? And
Right.
sometimes they're like, yeah, and sometimes they're like, man, I don't know. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going back to the original idea. And you get that kind of time. I used to have that at Penguin Studios because I used to actually live upstairs at Penguin Studios. So when the studio wasn't in use, we'd be down there with our original project, and it was just an incredibly creative time
right.
to be able to, just because there was no clock, we weren't paying
Right.
by the hour.
Right. Right.
So-
I go ahead.
So, Jeff, for the people who have not heard your stuff, where can they hear it?
Any of the streaming apps, so Spotify,
Yep.
Apple Music, all of them, and on YouTube too. The YouTube, you can hear the album on YouTube. There is one video
Oh, cool.
for the first song, Coming Back for You, but all the other songs are up there as well, with just the picture of the album.
Okay.
So you can just go there if you don't have any of those streaming things. I did stupidly. I printed CDs and
You have a lot
mainly
left?
more for nostalgia, I think.
You have a lot left, do you?
So I have a fair number left, and they make good coasters. Yeah.
Well, see, you got to get it on vinyl. That's why.
Yeah, but even that,
Is this Local Boy? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Local Boy. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I got. So for those of you who don't realize,
yes,
you can get it right on Apple Music.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here on Apple Music looking at it. So there you go, Local Boy.
Yes.
Put it on. We'll have to
put it on and take a listen.
Yeah.
And let Jeff know what you think next time you see him.
Straight rock and roll. You'll like it.
Okay, and they can purchase it. Yeah.
Yeah. They too can have their own coaster.
Yes. If they like a CD, they can come see me at any gig, and
he's got he's got 100 of them in the trunk of his car.
Yep.
And you can also buy a watch.
Yeah.
He's got other stuff for sale.
And for any of those people that are, not in Syracuse, you never know.
That's exactly right.
You never know where you are. He may have those.
May
so
have
any
those.
of our listeners elsewhere. Yeah.
So it's come that time in the show.
So yeah, we're going to ask you the uncomfortable question.
Yeah.
Give us a complete I can't believe this just happened.
Maybe an embarrassing moment on stage that you knew about but nobody else did.
Or they all knew it. Because you fell through the floor or something.
Right.
I mean.
Well, there was a time when this isn't really. I hate to say these because most of them are other people in the band being embarrassed, and
okay,
those are the ones that stick out to me. But
we'll take those too.
Right.
There was the one that comes to mind is my band Free at Last, the original band. We were playing at the Lilac Festival in Rochester, and we were opening up for Duke Jupiter. If you remember Duke.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Love Duke Jupiter, man.
Yeah, so we were opening up for Duke Jupiter, and again, we were playing original music, and the place was packed, but not for us, for Duke Jupiter.
Yeah.
So we had to win them over with our music, which is hard. And so we got it going and finished the first song, and people were starting to get into it. We got in the second song, and people were really grooving and having a good time. And then my guitar player, Steve Feldman, ran across the stage to kind of do a move or something with Teo, the bass player, and Teo didn't know he was coming, and he turned this way, and the neck of his bass almost took Steve's head off. So Steve fell literally flat on the ground on this big stage and fell flat on his back. And I just remember looking down at all these people in the front who were grooving and having a good time, and all they were doing were pointing and laughing. And we had to play another half hour. I was like, oh God, this is torture. Our cool factor just went from 100 to 0 in a split second.
So you've never fallen on stage or done anything?
Oh, I have, yeah, but
you didn't want to tell. You don't want to tell that story.
Tell that story.
Well, I if I fell on stage, it's probably because I've had too many and I don't remember. But I do remember. I think on Sharky's on the big stage there one night, I did a jump. And I can't remember why it fell. I think I noticed that the stage, the drum riser was higher than usual, and I don't remember why. It was a different drum riser or something. And I jumped off that, and I think it was there. And I remember I was looking down, and Todd, our bass player, was shaking his head like, "Don't do it, don't do it." And I jumped off. I'm like, I can do this. I jumped off, and I couldn't. And I think I did a pretty nice roll. And kind of came up, it kind of looked like I was doing a floor exercise on the gymnastics.
Nice.
In the Olympics, but
I did that.
I was going to say, somebody else has done that
I
too.
did that at Club 11.
Yeah.
Went to go jump up on that. You remember how they had 2 levels of the stage, the lower and the 2 hot?
Yeah.
So I went to go get up on that second one, stage left, and I jumped, and my foot just caught the lip, and it was like someone rolled a weeble down the stairs. But surprisingly, Jeff will tell you, I popped right back up on my feet. Don't know how I did it. Bleeding like a son of a gun. Went back, like the cat behind the couch routine. I went back to the drum riser, during the guitar solo, and I'm looking, and there's blood coming like on my shoe, and I'm like, I grabbed some gaff tape, and I just stuck it on the cut, and that stayed on there for like a week because I didn't want to rip it off. But I had one of those.
You know what's the other option? Those things are going to happen. The other option is to not move on stage, and that's no fun for anybody. So
no, you're right.
Yeah. I'm just going to lay here and pretend I'm dead.
Involved in it.
Pretend I'm dead.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. It's always you always have those stories. I mean, I don't care how many times you've played out.
No.
There's one. I got to tell you one quick one, really quick. Mike Secreti's story. Mike had this old guitar, and he was dying. It was a very funny dynamic in Kane because Mike Secreti and Lou Segretti, even though they pronounce their last name differently, are cousins.
Right.
And Mike had this old guitar, and he was convinced Lou, even though Lou didn't want to do it. He said, "This is going to be so cool. At the end of the show, Jeff, step aside. I'm going to throw this guitar from behind the drums, and it's going to smash, and it's going to be our big ending." We're like, I don't know. He's like, "You've talked us into doing it." So we're up in Oswego. I don't remember what state. I don't know if it was Harborfest or where it was. The end of the show, he throws this old guitar way up in the air. It comes down. It doesn't break. It just bounces around, and it just lays there. It was the most anticlimactic ending.
Right?
It's like somebody trying to smash a guitar full swing and having it just be
doing the Paul Stanley and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Bounces right back.
Yeah. That's funny.
It is too.
Now see that I would love to have seen something like that.
Yeah.
We've heard some good ones on this show.
We have.
We've heard some really
I
good
can
ones.
only imagine.
We really have.
There are some other ones that I can't repeat, and because they involve other band members who still aren't down, and I don't want to cause a problem.
That's cool.
We'll just have to have them on the show, and we'll exploit it. We'll just be like, "Hey, we heard something, but we don't know anything.
We don't know anything about it."
We did exploit Kevin Dean a couple times.
Yeah,
because Kevin has he's played with so many different bands. There's stories with every one of them. But so we have to give Kevin a shout out because
we do.
We just talked to him. We were talking to Kevin when you popped on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So shout out to Kevin because
just because.
Yeah, let's just say just because.
Just because we like Kevin.
Yeah. Well, Rick Latham.
Like Kevin.
Yes.
Rick Latham. Drummer, and he played with, oh my gosh, so many people. But he wrote percussion books, and Kevin uses them for his instruction and for his students. And he sent me a video today of him doing one of Rick's solos from the book.
Okay.
They did a video. So I said, I'm going to send this to Rick right now. And he goes, "Oh, cool." And then seconds later, Rick responds and is like, "Oh, this is really cool. Maybe I'll have to get up there and blah, blah, blah." And Kevin's like, "Wow, he responded to you quick." I'm like, because Rick's a great guy.
Right.
And Rick and I going back and forth. I just sent him a thing for Christmas and he got it. And we've been talking back and forth, and he's going to be out in LA at NAMM. And I'll meet up with him. But he's like, "Yeah, I'd be happy to come up." And Kevin's like, "Dude, yeah, let's do something."
Yeah.
But Kevin's had some doozies on the
has.
stage. So,
He has.
Everybody has
We'll
those
let him
moments. Yeah. Well, from drumsticks flying and hitting people in the head, or leaving microphones to reverb back and having the whole sound guy spend the whole show trying to figure out why they couldn't get a
Why it's
monitor
feeding
mix.
back and then figuring out later on.
Yeah, while they were in London, as a matter of all places, playing with
and Joe Altier getting really pissed off
playing
about
with Brand New Sin. So, those moments happen for everybody.
Yep.
They
do.
But now we switch gears and ask you.
Speaking of moments,
Go ahead.
Do you have a fanboy moment, Jeff? Have you met somebody that you've always wanted to, or played with someone?
I have a lot of those. I've been really lucky. I've had a lot of those, but I think the one that I'd mention is just in general. I joined Benny's. You may know this, but I was a hurricane towards the end of the Hurricanes run during the end of Benny Mardones.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Several guys in Hard Promises have played decades with him. I came in I think 2015 when Pete left. Pete Levanti played guitar and sang backups for him. And when Pete left, he asked if I would, and he had talked to Benny and said, would you do it? And so I did it, and it was certainly a great thrill to play with Benny and get to know Benny. And I learned a lot from Benny, especially about when we talked about earlier about Benny's relationship to his crowd.
Yes.
To his fans really was really something to watch. And even as he was kind of losing his voice and those things, he never ever took it for granted, and he put 100% into everything he did.
Yeah.
But that also led us, because Benny was friends with Eddie Monty, we ended up doing some shows with Eddie Monty and backing Eddie Monty. And Eddie Monty is somebody that I had albums of his and really listened to him, and I really liked that kind of rock, 80s rock pop was right in my wheelhouse, so to speak. So being able to work with Eddie, and I have some pictures of me and Eddie, and being able to back him up was a great thrill. That's something I'll always remember.
Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't know
my favorite singer in the world is John Waite. So the ability to play at Balloon Fest years ago and get to meet John Waite the first time I got to meet him and open up for him. And I have actually, here, I'll show you. Hang on one sec. This is probably a podcast etiquette no, but
no, trust me, we've had it all.
Oh,
we've had animals, we've had customers.
Customers were the favorite.
Customers were the favorite.
You can see this or not, but this is my a Strat that I had on that day, and I got him to sign it. And we talked for a bit, and then we played again with them at Syracuse a few years later, and I brought the same guitar, and I said, "Would you sign it?" He says, "I already did." And they said, "Would you do it again?" So John Waite again. Is what he was
Nice.
That's cool. That is cool.
That's a thrill for me, because John Waite was the reason why I started singing in the first place. Because when I heard Union Jacks with the Babies, it was life changing.
I didn't realize you remember the Hurricanes, because we could have talked about that a little bit too.
Our next time.
Well, I was towards the end. I mean, in fairness, there were a lot of people in the Hurricanes through the year, so I don't want to make it sound like. But I did get to do that for the last 4 or 5 years of his time performing.
I was a Benny Mardones fan myself.
Yeah. Well, so many people.
That's why we do Benny still on stage. We're doing we do Benny. We always do Into the Night, but we oftentimes will do either Might Have Been Love or
song
Sheila C.
Yeah,
another great song.
We're doing you'll like this one. We're doing well, by the time this airs, the show's over. But our next show we're doing, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to handle that, but
it went over very well.
It did.
It did.
We're doing.
You can say it.
We're doing She's So French.
I was just thinking that one. That's fantastic.
We're doing She's So French at our next show, and we try to mix it up. We know all of his stuff, so he had a lot of great songs. Great songwriter. Really.
Everybody I talked to about you playing that at your next show, they said it was great.
Yeah.
They said it was it was one of the best renditions they've ever heard.
Yep. It's mind blowing.
it was definitely a way to bring in the new year. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
Yeah.
Incredible. Put it on your new album.
Right.
Your own rendition.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, he was that was a great thrill to get to work with Benny and it was a lot of fun to help him out. And with Eddie, they were very similar in that one of the things that I was asked to do and I was happy to do was to sing. I sang a lot of, even though I was the backup vocalist, I did a lot of singing of the melody and the leads to help fill it out. So with Eddie, he was pretty famous for towards the end of his career, especially. He was a great showman, but he didn't really sing that much in his shows anymore. Right. So when I was with him, I was actually singing a lot of the leads. I don't know if people realize that, but it blended. All the choruses were all me singing his lines.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that is very cool.
And so he could talk to the audience and scream to the audience and stuff. So keep the party going.
See, we thought we were trendsetters doing Eddie Money stuff. Little did we know. Jesus. Well, see, this is the reason we do this show.
Yep.
So now everybody can expect you to do a full Eddie Money tribute band. That'll be the next one.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll do that, but I did. We do quite a bit of Eddie Money. We always do Shaken, which people like, and occasionally we'll do Baby Hold On. Sometimes we'll do
Oh, cool.
sometimes 2 tickets. We do I Think I'm in Love.
We used to do that
we
one.
we
Yeah, a
did
lot of great
Shaken.
songs.
We did Shaken. And we did I Think I'm in Love.
We did I Think I'm in Love, but we meshed them together.
Yeah.
There was like no break.
Oh yeah,
So
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
went one song to the other.
Yeah, like a little medley.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
we
that's
played
the
them in
best when
an-
bands do that.
We played
Yeah.
them in entirety.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It was just there was no
Yeah.
break. It's just you just counted and went right into the next.
I
one.
loved when we did stuff
me
like
too.
that. We did Billy Squire, Lonely as the Night,
Yep.
and then we would go right into Zeppelin's
Whole Lot of Love.
Whole Lot of Love, and then back to
And
back to Lonely
Back
as the
to
Night.
Lonely as the Night.
At the end, that was we used to,
And that just kind of happened at a practice one night. It was like weird.
because you guys were noodling.
We were.
Guitar players that just decide to go off on their own tangent. I was like,
I
holy shit, that fit.
Yep.
Let's throw the lyrics
throw it
in
in.
there and throw the drums. We want the drums to do this, and
Yep.
organically it came into
It came
something.
into
So
something.
Well, isn't that great when you that's another thing that I think separates bands is when you bands that stop after every song and talk, it's who wants to hear that?
Nobody.
You're building momentum to
Yeah.
a set, and
Yep.
you got to keep it going. So I always group, if you ever look at an HP set list, you'll see that our songs are grouped in 2s and 3s and then a break.
That's
2s and
I used
3s.
to do the
so
same thing.
so is
yeah.
ours. When we put the set list together,
I do.
and we would show a line, it'd be like
It'd be a 3 and a line.
three
and
talk, three talk,
yeah.
three quick talk,
quick talk. Yeah, whatever.
it just not that you said the same thing, but
No, but
and you threw the breaks around, so it
Yeah.
seemed different. But yeah, the ones or the ones that don't say anything in between, so ever
dead air.
those
Hate
are
dead
kind
air.
of boring too. It's like,
Oh, I hate dead air.
don't just be. I mean, everybody
That air's the
talks.
worst, for sure.
Yeah, talk to your audience.
Yeah.
Something, even if it's
Yeah.
just thanking them for coming out,
Yep.
and we're about to take a break. Something.
Something.
And don't do a break more than 15 minutes.
No.
Oh no, yeah. The worst is when I have something go wrong and I have to fix it,
Oh,
so I
right.
can't talk to the audience.
Yeah.
And then I say to Goody, my keyboard player, or Kevin, I'm like, somebody talk to the audience, and they still don't talk. I'm like, thanks
Somebody's
for helping
famous.
me out.
Somebody's famous for that. Because
I would
he
look
used
at
to do
Jeff.
it to me all the time.
I look at Jeff and I'm like, talk.
Say
He's like,
something.
what? I'm like, just talk.
What-
I even do it on this show.
Don't put me on
That's
the
all
spot.
that's all we're here to do is talk.
Yeah.
I'm like, talk.
Yeah.
Because
Don't
like
ever put me.
I remember the board was fucking up or something, and I'm like,
that.
and I'm like, and we were into it, and I'm
We were
like,
too.
and I look down, I'm like, oh fuck,
Oh
I'm
no.
like, talk. And he's like, I'm like, what the hell just happened
It's
to you?
brutal.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know what they say, best color man in the business.
That's right. So Jeff, it's 2024. What do you got coming up this
Yeah.
year?
Well, hopefully that an EP will be coming out.
Yep.
For Hard Promises, I think we've purposely worked hard this past year to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
We think after 12 years, it's time to enjoy the fruits of our labor, so to speak. So we'll play the gigs we really want to play and enjoy, and
Yeah, you've earned it.
not feel obligated to get out there every 2 weeks to worry about our name being out there. We don't do any of that anymore. And to be honest with you, we're looking to do for Hard Promises. I think we're trying to find a balance that includes more Tom Petty shows. People thought when we stopped Petty Fest, we did our final Petty Fest. We tried to make it clear that it doesn't mean we're not going to do Tom Petty shows anymore.
Right.
We were just looking for different avenues to do different formats, and felt that format had run its course. So we're I know in April, at the end of April, we'll be at Middle Ages Beer Hall doing our longest Tom Petty show of all time. We're gonna do 3 hours of Tom Petty.
Nice.
So we're gonna do 2 full sets of Tom Petty, which allows us to get even deeper into his catalog, and still play all the hits. But then we're also would love to go out and do more like we've been doing our opening sets, or more festivals outside of the area in the summertime that are full Tom Petty shows, because we just love it so much.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Well, we wish you luck with that.
Yes,
we hope that you will. One, we still have a ton of stuff that we need to cover with, so you're going to have to book another show.
Yeah.
And we don't care where you are or where it is or when it is.
Yep.
That's the beauty of the internet and Zoom.
Yes.
So you can be
Yeah,
here.
I probably should have mentioned that. We're going to be taking the band is taking a hiatus for 3 months.
Going on vacation.
Yeah.
In the winter, and it's all because of me, because I can't take the winter anymore.
Hey,
understood.
You
a
know
lot of
what?
people can't.
And for anybody that would be
Honestly.
mad at you for that, then
Forget them.
no, they're his
know.
fans, but they're
I
not
know.
our
No,
fans,
not
so
ours.
fuck them.
Right.
Well, you know, they don't want to come out in the winter anyway, so we're going to give them a break
No.
That's right.
from seeing us in the winter.
There you
And
go.
they can see us in better weather in the spring.
Awesome.
Hey, you know, in 10 years from now, all those people might be in Florida anyways. So Hard Promises could
other
be playing
parts of the state.
at a
Maybe we'll be in Florida. Yeah.
they could be playing at a retirement home.
We get credited a lot for opening. For I don't even know if it's true, and I don't even want to take credit for it, but a lot of people give us credit. Kane especially, and then Hard Promises for opening up the happy hour shows.
Oh,
That was
there you
something
go.
that we really did. We did it at Fusion, and we got Fusion to do it.
Oh, I
That's where
remember
we started
Fusion,
with
yeah.
the Fusion Club.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then everybody started doing shows. You know, before that, we were all doing you guys, and we were all doing shows 9 to 1. You know,
Yeah.
10 to 2. And
Yeah.
we were saying, look, our crowd's getting older. Nobody's coming out. If they come out for a show of 9 to 1, they're staying for the first set and they're leaving
Right.
Yep.
Right.
because they have to. They have obligations in the morning, you know.
Yes.
And so we did all that. So we always joke now that we revolutionized the happy hour scene in Syracuse. Our next step is to do the
Retirement
4
hour.
to 6 o'clock at the Golden Corral.
Nice.
Our next goal.
Nice.
Tonight at Brentwood Old Folks Home.
No.
Yeah.
Tonight
we
at
wanna
Golden
do-
Corral.
Not
steps in
so
the
hard
corner.
promises.
No,
Yeah.
boy.
4 to 6, and then we want to be paid, and we want the buffet, and then we're
Yeah.
going home.
Done.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could change the name of the band to Easily Chewable, and that's it. It's there's nothing hard about it. It's soft palate.
Everything is soft.
Soft, yeah. We are soft palate.
They're a soft palate.
We were when we were talking about Tom Petty shows, we were joking around one time that if we just wanted to eat anything we wanted to eat and gain weight, we could go out as Tom Fatty and the Scale Breakers.
Oh,
And,
nice.
and maybe that would be and then we could just continue to eat at every casino we play at in the buffet and have a whole different thing. You know?
I don't like.
Mike,
I don't like
Mike
that.
poo-pooing that
I
idea.
don't like that idea.
Mike poo-poos that idea.
It's the last known acceptable discrimination.
Oh, okay.
Fat shaming. Yeah,
Fat shaming.
it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. Well,
That's
Jeff,
what it
you
is.
will never be on the show anymore.
You're allowed to do that as long as it's about yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, but you're not. You're not a fat
Well,
guy.
I'm saying I'd have to gain some weight, but then I could be that
Right.
Oh,
person.
You could be Tom Fatty.
okay.
And the Scale Breakers.
We are
I
not
love it.
starting a tribute band.
Damn it.
Yeah, we're gonna call ourselves Slow Metallica or Slow Metabolism.
Slow metabolism.
Yeah. Enter Ice Cream Man. That's going to be the name of the song. It's going to be a mashup.
Nice. Good.
Jesus Christ. Did you say mashed potatoes?
What?
No, I said mashup.
Hold on.
Slow down.
I'm on my way.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, Jeff, thanks for ending that on a high note.
Yes.
Yeah, it's what I try to do every time.
Oh, man. Jeff, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it was great talking with you guys. Thanks so much.
We'll definitely have you on again.
Yes.
And
It's success to you.
In
Thank
fact,
you.
when your EP comes out, give us a shout, let us know, and we'll promote the hell out of it for you.
we definitely want to do that.
Great. Thanks so much.
Might have to
Yeah,
have
let's
you
do
on.
it first.
We might have to have you on when Mary Jo is on.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll do that.
Yeah.
I don't think she wants to do this on her own.
No, she's
Why
doing it
don't
on
you
her
let
own.
me write the questions for that?
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, no.
Nice.
I'd rather have Chat GBT or whatever it's called.
Oh, jeez.
Have an AI do it.
I do it.
Yeah, because yours could get way too personal.
No.
But we definitely would
Yeah.
like to have you back in any capacity. So, and if you know anybody that
Thank
should
you.
be on the show, let us
Let us
know.
know.
Send me a message, and I don't know. Shakira's drummer comes to mind. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, he's busy now.
Well, that doesn't
but,
matter. Everybody gets a
COVID
bit.
was the time to get him. But,
There you go.
yeah. Have you had Frank Briggs on?
I have not, but you know what? We did talk about having Frank Briggs on. I got to write that down.
He would be great. How about Porter? Did Dave on him?
Got to have Dave as
Porter.
Well. Yep. See, I'm going to open it up.
Eddie Hamill's still going strong around the country. He's a great one.
I'm writing it all down.
You are.
And I'm giving you all these. How about Martin Sexton? Have you talked to Martin?
No.
Martin Sexton is huge all around the country, and he's right here he's originally from Syracuse. Yeah.
Even better.
Okay, well, we're just going to let you reach out and let them know that we're going to be reaching out to them.
Contact them.
That's what Tatora does for us. He's like,
too.
hey, so and so, this guy's going to message you.
Yeah.
I did a show. It was fun, and then all of a sudden that opens a whole different
new world.
Who is this guy sending me a message that I don't know? Screw him. So, if you can give us a leg up on one of these, or stand up on an ego box for one of these. Go ahead and do that for me. See, fat joke retaliated with a short joke.
There you go.
Doesn't bother me one bit.
I know. It's like, yeah, they're coming to see me, asshole.
Right.
How many people are going to listen to this if I wasn't on? Exactly.
Correct.
So, anyways, thank you so much.
Jeff, thanks so much.
Nice talking with you guys.
We hope you had fun.
We hope you had fun, man.
I did. Thanks so much.
You too.
No, thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Take care.
We'll see ya. There you go, Jeff.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
It was.
I am going to start the music now because.
Would you?
Yes.
All right.
I'm going to do a little J-Ro.
Nice. I love J-Ro. His music.
Oof, that was loud.
That was a little bit.
You've been listening to the Season 2, Episode 1 of The Good,
The Band,
The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff.
And we want to thank Jeff Gordon for being on, and
Yes,
we also
we
want to
do.
thank Hawk Medical Supply, Sharky's Event Center,
DJ Life's a Beach.
Good Nature Brewing Company,
Aha, Uncle Jimmy's live local music.
Uncle Jimmy, The Print Shop Underground,
Snarky
Toffee Break,
Productions.
Toffee Break Talking. What did you say it
I
again?
said Snarky Productions.
Yes. We'll see you next week. Oh, we're going to have a great year.
Yeah, it's coming.
Stick around next week and let us know how you thought of the show. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.
Peace. Don't say it.
Recording stop.
You're such a dick.
Recording stopped.